everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Beauty Rose, and if you're here, you're officially a beauty queen. Now let's get into the slay of the day. I did prep her skin off camera, and now I'm going to do her brows. I am using my Anastasia dip pomade in the shade Ebony. If y'all know me, y'all know this is my fave. I've tried using pencils, I've tried using other stuff. It's just not the vibe for me, so your girl just gonna stick to what she knows. So remember, when you're doing your brows, you want to be kind of heavy-handed towards the tail, and the closer you get to the front, you want to be more light-handed. And a little technique that I use in the front, I actually just kind of like take my brush and kind of like brush it upward instead of like into the brow very lightly, and that kind of gives it like a more softer look in the front, very soft. Also, when doing your brows, you want, as you can see, I'm taking my thumb and I'm pulling up on her skin upward. You want to do that because you want to make sure you're literally getting the eyebrows to perfection, and you can really get in that arch to define the arch. Now I'm going to conceal her brows. I use a 1-2 method when concealing my brows. Right now I'm going into the lightest shade, and I'm using my Juvia's Place concealer, and this is in the shade 11, number 11. And I'm going to take that into her arch and along her tail, because we all know we want that highlight to be popping, and if it's not popping, what are we doing? So I'm going to take the lightest shade and do this on both eyes. To take my Real Technique blending brush and just blend that out. Remember, when we're blending, we are pressing into the skin. We are not doing swipe motions, circular motions. We are just constantly pressing that into the skin for a good seamless blend. Also, the brush that I'm using to clean up her brows is actually a paintbrush that I got from Michael's. It's a flat paintbrush. It was on sale, so I got it. Nothing special. I can say that I actually like paintbrushes better than actual makeup brushes because they just define like every detail. So I would highly suggest going to your local Michael's or Hobby Lobby to grab some paintbrushes for your makeup. Now I'm going into my second shade to conceal the front of her brows and the top of her brows. Like I said in the beginning, I use a 1-2 method to conceal my brows. The 1 is the lightest shade. 2 is actually her foundation color, and the foundation that I'm using on her today is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless in the shade 355. So I'm going to use that to conceal the front of her brows and the top of her brows so that it can be a more seamless look, and so that everything can just flow together. Y'all, please bear with me with going back and forth in front of the camera. It is very hard to do makeup and record at the same time, because usually I'm standing in front of my client and I can't do that because then you guys wouldn't be able to see. So I'm still learning on my different angles and really how to do this whole YouTube recording thing. After I'm done concealing the top, I always bring the foundation upward and blending out because you want it to blend with whatever other product I'm using, in that area. Now I'm going to take my other concealing brush and I'm going to buff that out. I'm also going to press my Morphe translucent powder into her eyelids, which is going to set that concealer in so that there are no creases. We don't want no creases, no lines, because that's just not cute. So it has to be a flawless, seamless, creaseless canvas when we pop that eyeshadow on there. I did notice that her left brow was a little bit thicker than the right brow. Please know that our brows are not twins, they're sisters, but we can kind of get close to making them look, similar. So I'm just taking some of my concealer and I'm just making her brow as similar as to the right one as I can. Now, I'm showing my mistakes because I want you guys to know the reality that us makeup artists that are posting these videos are not perfect. We mess up too. Sometimes the mistakes get edited out, but I wanted to show you guys that this does happen. It's normal, and just go back and fix it and do the same thing. And after I'm done concealing it, of course, go back and set it with my Morphe translucent powder. Yo, Jordan is hilarious. This is actually one of my regular clients. I'm actually her hairstylist, and I did do those braids she has in her head. She's been coming to me for quite some time now, and she is just such a ball. She's so much fun, such a good personality. Love when she comes in. It's always a good time. So now I'm going to go into my Glamlite paint palette in the shade brown. If you guys don't have this palette, this is a must-to palette to have. It has literally the entire freaking rainbow in one palette, and it's just amazing. So I'm going into the shade brown, and I'm taking my Glamlite paintbrush that actually comes with that palette, and I'm pressing that into her crease. I'm going to press that into her crease, and then I'm going to take my Morphe blending brush and blend that outward. I don't remember the number brush that I use for the Morphe brush, but I'll put it in the description below. Now I'm going to take my P. Louise primer in the shade 0 and I'm going to press that into her eyelid. I am not doing a cut crease. If I was doing a cut crease, it'll be a more harsher line. I'm doing like, I guess, a soft crease, I guess. But I'm also going to be diffusing the line so that it kind of like blends a little bit. Don't know the correct terminology for it, y'all, so don't charge it to me. So now I'm going to take my Morphe Fantasy palette, and it's the palette with all of the pastel colors and glitters, and I'm going to go into this like soft pink shade. It kind of reminds me of strawberry, so I call it like the strawberry color. So I'm going to pat that into her lid where I put the eyeshadow base. And again, once I'm done with that, I'm going to take my blending brush and kind of go back and forth between the pink and the brown to fuse those colors together. Going to go into my liquid liner and I'm going to give her a little soft wing. Y'all, I am still perfecting my wing liner, so the better I get, the bigger I can go. But as of right now, we're going to keep it little, we're going to keep it simple, and we're going to keep it cute, okay? I don't remember the name of this liquid liner. I literally got it from my local hair store. So if y'all know any good liquid liners, let your girl know. Please comment down below. So I'm going to apply her concealer now. I'm going into my first concealer, which is by e.l.f. and it's the Cameo concealer, I believe. I'll put all the colors, the shades, and the companies in the description below. Next, I'm going into my Maybelline concealer. And then after that, I'll be using my Juvia's Place concealer in the number 11, the same concealer that I used to highlight her brows. And then after that, I will go into her contour color, which is also a Juvia's Place concealer, and applying her foundation in the shade 355 from Maybelline. I always do my 1, 2, 3 method with everything. My concealer, applying my foundation. It's always 1, 2, 3. When using your Juvia's Place concealers, I recommend that you are very, very light-handed because these concealers are extremely full coverage. When I tell you a little goes a long way, do not use much. Like I said, you can do the 1, 2, 3 method, literally 3 dots in every section that where you're using it, and it'll be enough for you. And right now I'm going to apply her foundation. Like I said, it's the 1, 2, 3 method. I do 3 little drags on each side of her face, 3 on the forehead, and then 1 on the chin and 1 on the nose. I personally do not like a face packed on with foundation. A little goes a long way. I'm very key on natural flesh tone skin, and I just don't like my clients to look like they have on a mask. And I'm not going to put a glob of freaking foundation on their face because it ain't that deep. It's not that necessary. So the 1, 2, 3 method will take you a long way, and it's just enough to get the job done. And now I'm going to take my Real Technique Beauty Blender and I'm going to blend all of that out. Now the technique that I use as far as blending out my concealers, I go out, in, to make sure that all the colors are blending together. Once I have that blended out, I'm going to take my Real Technique Instapop face brush to blend out her foundation. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to press that into her skin. I am not doing swiping nor circular motions. Wherever I place the product is where I want it to sit, so I'm going to press it into the skin. And I'm going to do that all over. If you do not have this brush, I recommend that all MUAs get this brush. This brush is everything, okay? The bristles are everything. It gets all the product into the skin, and I'm just like obsessed, like so obsessed. Another tip when you're blending out your contour around your hairline, you want to take it and blend it into your hairline. So that again was my favorite word, seamless. Seamless, flawless look. At this point, I did notice that her highlight was a little too bright for my liking. I like everything to kind of like be very cohesive. So I just took the number 11, the concealer that I used under her brows, and I just tapped a little bit right near the inner corner where you see it's very highlighted. I just tapped a little bit in there and blended it out just to tone it out some more, just so that it can be more skin tone like. Y'all, makeup artists, we all make mistakes. Just go back and fix it. Easy fix. After I blend that with my beauty blender, I take my blending brush, my concealer blending brush from Real Technique. I'll put the description below. And I just like to blend that out some. And then I'll take my Black Radiance powder in the shade Banana, and I'll set that concealer in. I personally do not like to bake. The only time I do bake is if I'm doing a photo shoot or video shoot or things of that nature. I personally either take my concealer brush that you see or a damp beauty blender and press it into the skin. Press it into the skin so that it seals the makeup exactly where it's at and so that it doesn't move. Now I'm just taking my Kat Von D highlight and contour brush, and I'm just going to blend out the contour and the highlight. I want to make sure there are no lines before I take my powder to set everything in its place. Now I'm going to take my Black Radiance powder in the shade Banana, and I'm using a damp beauty blender, and I'm going to press that into her skin. I do not like to bake unless I'm doing a photo shoot or music video shoot. I like to press my powder into the skin. It stays where it lays, okay? And then of course I'll just take my concealer brush and wipe the excess off, and then continue to press it into the skin to make sure it's in our skin. That's the goal. That's the goal. Now I'm going to take my bronzer and just go over her contour lines. I believe I'm using my Too Faced Chocolate Soiree bronzer for her contour, and then I'm going to set her foundation in with my Maybelline Fit Me powder in the number, I believe that's also 355. I believe I'll put it in the description below, and I'm going to press that into her skin as well. To prep her eyelashes, I'm using my Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. This is my favorite mascara. I haven't found another mascara that I'm just like totally in love with yet, so that's what I'm using. I prep her lashes so that it can blend with her falsies. Once I do that, I'll take my eyelash glue, a trick that I use to apply my lashes to make sure they stay. I apply the lash glue to the lashes, but I also apply the lashes to the lash line, exactly underneath where I put her wing liner. do her lips. This is a lip liner from, I believe, NYX. It's just in the shade brown. I got it from my local hair store. And then in the middle, I'm going to take my Juvia's Place gloss in the shade Caramel Rose. Y'all, I've never in my life liked gloss, but baby, those Juvia's Place lip glosses, they are on another level and they smell so good. And they literally hydrate your lips as well. So it's really good to use on yourself and your clients, and they're just amazing. Now that I'm done with her lips, I'm going to do the highlight. Y'all already know I am a highlight girl. I don't really overdo it on my clients, but I mean, what's the look without a highlight? Because if your highlight not popping, then what are you doing? Highlight must stay popping at all times, by any means necessary, okay? I'll put the highlight I'm using in the description below. Now I'm going to take my same mascara and prep her bottom lashes. I always do bottom lashes. It just gives the eye a little extra pop, a little extra, you know, extraness. Especially if you don't care to do the actual bottom lashes, just pop a little mascara up on there and it looks just the same. Now I'm going back into my Morphe Fantasy palette and I'm taking like this little shimmery white color and just putting it in the inner corner of her tear duct just to give an extra little pop. I'm going to spray her down with my Beauty Bakery Sweet Setting Spray, and that is it, y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, bye.